Hi there, I'm Kat Jacoby, Public Relations and Program Coordinator for Fierce Freedom. Part of the work that we do here is to educate teens on the dangers of human trafficking and exploitation. And the reason for that is that teens are so heavily targeted to be trafficked or exploited because of their vulnerabilities. Exploitation simply means taking advantage of someone's vulnerability to achieve personal gain. And this can be done in a variety of ways. Youth are often exploited for money, drugs, or sex. Vulnerability means susceptibility to being hurt or harmed physically or emotionally. And we all have vulnerability, but teens are often going to be exploited for a variety of vulnerabilities. Some of that is just that they're young and they're inexperienced, or they're unaware of the dangers that are lurking around the corner. Some of them have a negative peer group that they're involved with. Some of them come from broken families or broken homes. Some of them are even runaways. And also some of them may have a prior history of abuse, either sexual or physical. And all of these vulnerabilities can work together to allow someone to be trafficked or exploited. So we want to share a fictional story with you about a 16-year-old girl named DJ. This is based on real stories and accounts of trafficking and exploitation, and I want you to stop and see if you can spot the vulnerabilities in her story.
Dear Diary, today was the worst day. All of the kids in my Spanish class started making fun of me when I stuttered asking the teacher to go to the bathroom, and my crush since 8th grade, Ricky, also joined in, and so did Sonia, my ex-best friend, who doesn't even sit with me at lunch now. What made it worse is that my mom forgot to pick me up from school again, so I had to call her from the office. I think it's because my dad's been drinking again. I heard them arguing late last night. I just wish they would get a divorce. I feel like they don't even care about me. When they're yelling, I grab my dog Pepper and I listen to music just to try and block it all out. And then sometimes when I'm mad, I go on this online game and talk to some of my friends on there. They don't care about my stutter. They just care that I kill all the bad guys. Thanks for listening. DJ.
What vulnerabilities did you notice? If you need to, pause the video and say them out loud. Some of the vulnerabilities in DJ's story are that she's looking for love and acceptance. She also doesn't really have a close relationship with her parents. They're sort of distant and in their own world, and they're not really dependable. There's also alcoholism that runs in the family. Also, she gets bullied for stuttering at school, and she lacks a supportive peer network, and she doesn't really have any friends that she can talk to. So she turns online to feel that connection with people and to feel desirable. And this is a tricky one, but she also has a beloved pet that she goes to and that she really loves, and that can also be taken advantage of. In the next part of DJ's story, we'll see how she was groomed to be exploited. The grooming process takes place when somebody builds an emotional connection with their victim in order to exploit them, abuse them, or traffic them. For the next part of the story, look and see how DJ was groomed to be exploited.
Dear Diary, it's been a while since I last wrote in you, and that's because after the last entry, I met someone. His name is Cole, and he popped up in my gaming server telling me he really liked my profile picture. I think he's the one. We talked every night since then, and we have so much in common. He added me on Snapchat, and he's giving me gaming tokens, and he sent me a beautiful bracelet in the mail. He is so cute. He's older, 20, and he has his own car. And he said that I'm the most beautiful girl that he's ever talked to and that he wants to be my boyfriend. I told him about the kids at school, and he said that they didn't matter. And then I told him about my parents fighting, and he said he'd always be there for me. I feel like I can tell him anything. He said he really wants to be with me, and he's saving money for the future, our future. And I can't wait, because all I want is to be with him. Tonight, we're video chatting for the first time. He said he's really excited to see what I look like. He hinted that he wanted to see me in my underwear, but I'm kind of nervous because I've never really done that before. But I feel like that's what boyfriends and girlfriends do, and I just want to make him happy. But my parents would freak out if they found out, so I've got to keep it a secret. Love, DJ.
What grooming tactics did you notice? If you need to, pause the video and say them out loud. So some of those grooming tactics that Cole used on DJ is that he made a lot of false promises to her. So he promised that he would meet her need for attention and affection that she was so desperately craving and she wasn't getting at home or at school. He also met her online on her online gaming system, and it was really easy for him to pretend to be someone that he wasn't, and he added her on social media to glean more information about her. He also decided to give her gifts, so digital currency and also a physical bracelet. He also isolated her and told her that her peers didn't matter and that he would always be there. So he was isolating her, not giving her a safety net. And if there was a positive relationship, he would encourage her to seek out other positive relationships. He also tested the water and asked her to, send nude photos or to see her in her underwear. For the last part of the story, we'll see how DJ's vulnerabilities and the grooming process led her to be exploited. Exploitation again means taking advantage of someone's vulnerability to achieve personal gain. Human traffickers and abusers will use different tactics to control their victims. And a lot of times we think that those control tactics are going to be physical restraints, when actually a lot of times they are psychological or emotional chains that are keeping somebody from getting help or getting out of a situation. Traffickers and abusers will use threats of violence, shame, and manipulation to control their victims and stop them from ever getting help. For the next part of the story, see if you can spot some of these tactics of manipulation.
Dear Diary, I'm so scared. Something has gone terribly wrong. After Cole and I video chatted, I felt kinda icky, and then he didn't message me. I felt like I did something wrong. Maybe he didn't even like me. And then he messaged me saying he missed me and he had a great idea. I was so relieved. I asked him what he meant, and he said he had a friend in the area who thought I was super hot and wanted to hang out. He would give Cole and I $500. I was confused because I thought Cole was my boyfriend, but he just said, yeah, well, you wouldn't have to do anything, just hang out with him. And then afterwards we could still go on a romantic date. You're still my beautiful girl. Don't you want us to be together? And of course I did, but this just seemed kind of weird. But Cole helped me come up with an excuse. We said I was staying at a friend's house, and it wasn't hard to lie to my parents because they didn't even know how miserable I was at school. Cole drove into town and picked me up. I couldn't believe that I was finally meeting him, and we were driving to meet another guy. We got to this sketchy hotel and booked a room. The concierge looked a little confused, but didn't say anything. Once we got to the room, I started getting nervous. Cole gave me a glass of wine, telling me to drink it, saying it would loosen me up. I wanted to call my mom, but I left my phone in the car because Cole said I wouldn't need it. We waited there for about 15 minutes and then his friend showed up. I thought he would be closer to our age, but he was older, like my dad's age. I was so confused, but when I got up to leave, Cole cornered me. His eyes looked so dark, and he told me that I couldn't leave the room until he was happy. I was so embarrassed, so I just nodded my head. Then Cole left me there with this guy for like an hour. He took my clothes off and touched me everywhere. I was too scared to leave because of what Cole said, so I just let it happen. I couldn't believe that this was my first time. Afterwards, all I could do was cry. Cole came in, wiped my tears, and said, "Good job, baby, I'm proud of you." He grabbed the money off the table and asked me if I wanted to go to dinner. I shook my head no, so he just drove me home. I never wanted to speak to him again, but he popped up on my messenger that night. I told him I never wanted to do that again, but that's when he got ugly. He told me that he knew where I lived and that he would hurt my dog and my parents if I didn't do what he told me. He also told me that he had pictures of me naked that he would post online. He called me damaged goods and said that since I wasn't a virgin anymore, I might as well keep doing this and making us money. I don't know what to do. I'm so scared of him. I don't know how to get out of this except to keep doing what he wants so he doesn't hurt my family. I never want them to find out about this. They would disown me. DJ.
What control tactics did you see used on DJ? If you need to, pause the video and say them out loud. Some of the tactics that Cole used on DJ is that he established a romantic and sexual connection or bond with her. That's very common in abuse or trafficking. He also used fear, and he threatened her family and the safety of her pets if she didn't comply with what he wanted. So he also threatened to blackmail her with sending nude images to her friends or posting them on social media. He also used shame. So he said that he would tell DJ's parents about everything that she had done. And then he also used shame to tell her that she was damaged goods and that she might as well keep making them money. So again, the threats, shame, and manipulation are going to be the strong emotional and psychological chains that are going to be used to keep a victim from getting help or leaving a situation. I want you to ask yourself, if you or a friend were in this situation, would you know what to do or how to get help? Here are some things you can do if you ever find yourself in this situation. So you can get help by resourcing or reaching out to a trusted adult, like a youth leader, a doctor, a counselor, a parent, anybody in your life who has proven that they're reliable and trustworthy. You can also just make sure that you're going with your gut. So if you have a bad feeling about something or a situation, make sure that you can resource local law enforcement or calling the human trafficking hotline at 1-888-373-7888 and report what you saw and be specific about it. You can also resource Fierce Freedom. We're here for you if you ever have any questions or if you ever need to call us directly. You can call us at 715-514-2890. You can also look online and look at the resources that we have there at fiercefreedom.org. We're so glad you could join us today, and we think it's so important that we're having these open and authentic conversations so that we can all protect ourselves from trafficking and exploitation. Thank you so much for watching.